This is the Unreal Engine project I have running. This is just a third-person template that I've modified to make it a first-person camera. So far, the game just plays like this. As you can see, it's just moving around. There's no player model. I can jump around. I can't run. I can't do anything. It's a bit boring. So let's make it a bit more interesting by adding a zoom in and out effect when we sprint. Look for your player blueprint, so the blueprint that you use to control your character in. I'm going to go into my event graph for my player blueprint. Before we do any code, we need to make a variable. A Boolean variable, in case you didn't know, is basically true or false. That's all it is. It's pretty basic. I'm going to call it is sprinting. It's always good to be organized when doing code in Unreal Engine. I've learned the hard way many times. And we're going to get our left shift key because that's the most common key we use for sprinting. I know Unreal Engine has a new input system, but I'm doing this the easiest way possible for you guys. I made a mistake. We don't need to get is sprinting. We need to set is sprinting. That was an error on my behalf. So we're going to set press to true. And we're going to set release to false. Next up, we're going to get our character movement, and we're going to set the max walk speed to whatever we want the fastest speed to be. So we're going to grab two of these. So set max walk speed twice, connect it up like that. This one here is once you have released the sprint button, what speed do you want to go back to? Now, usually you'll set this back to the normal walking speed that you want to walk at. Unreal Engine's walking speed by default is 600, so I'm going to put in 600. If you've changed that value before, you might want to have to go look and find it and see what you set it to. If you're unsure on how to do that, it's pretty easy. Come up to your character movement and just click on it. Go to the right, and then just around here it is here, max walk speed. I'm going to set the released walking speed to 600, and I'm going to make my sprint speed, say 800. So when we press the shift key, we go to 800, and when we release the shift key, then we go back down to 600. That's out of the way. Now we can move on to one of the main cores of this whole system, a timeline. We're going to drag out of the maximum walk speed, and we're going to look for add timeline. Now be careful here because there's two timelines. There's add timeline component and add timeline. Make sure you click on add timeline because that's the one you'll need. Sprint, zoom, in, out. You can change it to whatever you want, but please be organized with it. So we're going to double click on it to enter the timeline. You got this little button here called track. You want to press that and select add float track. I'm going to name this alpha. Don't ask me why we have to call it alpha. I've just always called it alpha. It's easier that way. The length is very important inside the timeline. Basically, the length in a timeline is how much time the transition is going to be. You don't want to set it to too long, like 10 seconds, because that's just gonna be really annoying. I found a good spot was around 0.3 seconds. And you're going to right click on your mouse and add a key. Up here, these tabs will open, which says time and value. Set these both to 0. And then we're going to add one more key. Make sure with this key though, you set the time to the length you set it. So since I said 0.3 is my length, the time is going to be 0.3. Always want to make sure your value is 1. With most of what you're doing with timelines, it's 1 by default. Compile and save. We're going to go back to our event graph now. Off of our alpha that we've made here, we're going to look for a lerp. In case you didn't know, you can hold left alt on your keyboard and click any node connections and it will break it. So if you've seen me doing it, that's how you do it really quick. I'm going to drag alpha into alpha. A lerp is a node that switches from A to B. So two values we have here. We want to switch from two different field of views. So say 70 degrees, and then when we're running, we want to be at 80 degrees. We actually need to grab our first person camera. This also works with third person projects as well. So just grab your camera, not the camera boom, drag out of it and say set field of view. Just like that. Plug the update out of timeline into the set field of view node and the lerp return value into here. We need to find now our default value for our camera field of view. Come up here to the left and select your camera, then go over to the right and it should tell you your field of view. Now default, it's usually 90 degrees. So I'm going to stick with that since that's pretty good. This is what the default is and the B is what you want to change it to. 90 degrees is our default, and let's say I want the camera to zoom out when I'm running, which I feel like is the best instead of zooming in. So I'm going to set it to 100 degrees in the B value. Compile and save. One last thing we have to do is plug the release section into reverse on the timeline. We can run and will be faster, and the camera has the slight transition. This looks a lot better than just sliding across the floor with no effects whatsoever. But there's even more we can add to this. Depending on if you're going for realism or not, if I'm running, I can just glide off of the edge while running. To fix this, we're gonna go back into our player blueprint and go at the start here where it says left shift. I'm gonna drag the code that we just did over to the right a bit, and we're going to disconnect these nodes here. Drag out of pressed and look for a branch. An easier way, if you don't want to have to type all that, you can just hold the B on your keyboard, the B key, and then just click one time on the left side of your mouse, which is a lot easier. Grab the character movement component and look for is falling. If they are jumping or falling, we don't want to be able to run, because who runs while jumping in the air? That doesn't really make sense. Instead of using an event tick that would constantly check and use up computer resources, this is already a built-in node and component that does it for us. Drag is falling over here and plug the return value into the condition of the branch. Put this in here and released into here. So now when we run off an edge, we will be running, but if we try and jump off and run, it won't work. So if I'm jumping and I'm trying to sprint, you can see the camera isn't zooming out, but I'm running around now and it's letting me run. But as soon as I jump up, it won't let me do it unless I'm on the ground. So that's something you should have. I'm going to teach you one more thing in this tutorial before I end it, which is how to zoom in. Instead of adding all the walk speed code, we're going to just make it so if you hold the right mouse button, it zooms in. Some horror games have this feature. It's completely optional. You don't have to do it. I'm going to search for my right mouse button. There we go. I'm going to get my character movement and get velocity. If they still have that and they haven't removed it, here it is. Get velocity, and then we're going to check if our velocity is, where's the equal keys on my keyboard? Here it is. Make sure it is equal to 0. There we go. Now we're going to get a branch condition, just like that. If it is true, we're going to add a new timeline like we did before. That is not how you spell timeline. There we go. I'm gonna change this to stand still timeline. Track length is going to be the same, 0.3. Add a float, name it to alpha. This is pretty much the same as what we did before, 0 and 0. The first key always has to be a 0, 0, and the time is going to be the length. The value is always going to be number 1. Get a lerp, disconnect it, plug it into alpha again. This is our default value, which is 90 degrees because the camera is always 90 by default. I want the camera to zoom inwards, not outwards. So I'm going to change this value to around 75 degrees. I feel like that's like a good option. First person camera, set field of view, update goes in here, and the return value also goes in there. And finally, we put released into reverse. And I'm moving around. I'm trying to click. It's not zooming in. Our sprint is still working. I'm jumping and it won't let me zoom out. But if I stand completely still and do it, it zooms in. Now that you have a basic understanding of how timelines and zoom ins work, you should be able to add different features to your other projects and extend upon what I've shown you. I hope you've learned something, and I will show you more of this cool stuff in my other tutorials. So if you want to see that, subscribe, and yeah, you'll see something cool. Stay tuned for that. Oh god, I'm really bad with outros. I suck at these.